Okie dokie, right, big old box. So whenever I bought a bike in the past, and I've had plenty of bikes, they've always been assembled. So I bought them from a dealer, I've ordered the bike, I've been and picked it up, and everything's been set up, it's been built, the gears have all been tuned and everything. So this is the first time I've had a bike out of a box, so it'd be interesting just to see how easy or how difficult it is to get set up. So let's open her up. So there you go folks, you've seen me put it together straight out of the box. It literally took 10 minutes, if that. Dead simple. All it's a case of doing is putting the front wheel on, we put the front mud guard on, attach the light, put the pedals on, and that's about it, and it's literally good to go. Once you've charged the battery up, it came with a bit of charge in the battery, but what I did, I whapped it on charge, got it full, and it took a few hours, and it was ready to go. And that's about it. The tyres were pumped up, brilliant. Just had to fasten that, your LCD display, just had to tighten that up, and away you go. So yeah, dead quick to set up. The gears were bang on, they're absolutely superb. Didn't have to do any messing around with the gears. And yeah, away you go. So what we're going to do now, we'll just run through a few of the major points on the bike and the features. Now, so one of the main features of this bike is the fact that it actually folds in half, which is fantastic for transporting it. You know, if I'm going somewhere in the car, I can just chuck it in the back and away we go. All it's a case of doing is you've got this lever there, and it takes a little bit of getting used to this, to be honest. So I just bend it with my knee there, and there we go. That's now in half. There's a stand here, so you can drop the bike down. What I tend to do then is get a bungee cord, just bungee the front wheel to the rack so that's not spinning around. Then you can just drop the handlebars down, and there you go, and you've got that compact package, if you will, and you can just lift that up, shove it in the car, and away you go, and it takes up a relatively small amount of space. So a fantastic feature, that, and dead easy. That's this is the tricky bit. So it's just a case of spinning it around like that, leave it on, and how quick is that? It's rapid. So starting at the front, we've got 20-inch wheels, 100mm tyres. They're what they call a fat bike tyre, decent tread on them, so 4-inch wide. In themselves, they give a fair amount of suspension. I've got me 26-inch wheel fat bike, and there's no suspension on that. This has the added bonus of a suspension fork. So you've got the suspension in the tyre, depending on how much air you put in them. These, I've got a bit more pressure in these because I've got my suspension fork. What you can do, you can lock them out. So that's it, rigid there. When you're on a road, if you've got suspension, the suspension fork active, it tends to soak up a little bit of energy, so it's not as efficient. So if you're only on the road and you don't need the suspension, you can lock that out and it's a bit more efficient to ride. Front discs, they're not hydraulic discs, they're a cable disc, but you've got a front disc and you've also got a back disc, which enables you some fantastic stopping power. Coming up to the front of the bike, we've got a nice ergonomic grip on there, quite a wide grip. The main controls, I'll spin the bike round, so you can see there, nice big LED screen. Press that middle button on your controller and that brings up all the information that you need, the speed, how much juice you've got left in the battery, the power assistance on it, so it's set at 1 at the moment, and your odometer on the bottom tells you what distance you've covered. So moving back on the bike, that's where your battery goes. Your battery can be charged inside the bike, or you can take it off and you can charge it on its own. Seat wise, this seat is so comfortable, it's a fantastic seat. It's got a suspension seat post, so not only have we got suspension in the fat tyre and the front fork, we've got a suspension seat post, but the actual seat has an airbag in it. So there's a little pump underneath. Press that, you just pump it up with your fingers and that puts extra air into your seat. If you want to let some out, there's a little button, air release, and it drops the air out of the seat and makes it a little bit spongy. You can see that there. Moving further back, we've got a metal rack that's rated to 25 kilograms. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to maybe extend that a bit, put a wooden platform on so that I can put some bigger stuff on it. And I'm also looking at maybe getting a trailer for it as well. So a cargo trailer, and it'll be fantastic for doing multi-day trips. I can load the trailer up, put my hot tent on, the stove, all the gear, you know, carrying water and all the heavy stuff. So looking at this side of the bike, we've got a Shimano Tourney SIS 7-speed group set. So they've not put a cheap group set on it. You know, Shimano is top gear. So, you know, fair play to them for putting that on at this kind of price point. That's the index system there on the handlebars, dead easy. You've just got, it's one click and then a click down, dead simple. Derailleur guard on the back, tend to keep them on. You know, this is going to be, I'm going to be using this off-road, and you don't want your rear derailleur getting whacked, so that's a good idea to keep that on. That's about it really. I mean, the one thing I really do need to mention is the fact that this bike has a throttle on it. Okay, so technically this bike is not legal on UK roads. It needs insuring, and I think it also needs an MOT. Now that can be decommissioned. Okay, so once that's decommissioned, it's absolutely fine. As I said before, if I spin that, the bike will go on its own, so you don't have to actually pedal it. If I'm using it in the garden and I'm whizzing around here and up there, and it's absolutely fine because I'm on private land. I mean, you see them all over, don't you? Deliveroo and Just Eat and that, and they're whizzing around here, there and everywhere. So unless them bikes are insured and they have an MOT on them, which I very much doubt they have, they are actually illegal. So that can be decommissioned. I don't know how to do it at the moment, but I will be taking that off and I will just be using the pedal assist on it. Okay. Going back again to the actual motor, it's a 500 watt motor. It's a lump of a thing, and it doesn't half, you know, get it shifting. The bike doesn't half move. I think it's limited to about 20 mile an hour, which is ample. It's absolutely ample. So the important thing is, how does it ride? So I've got some trail cams to go and put on a local badger set, so we're going to get the bag on the back and we're going to take it for a spin down the road. See you in a bit. So you can see how easy this is. We're on power number 3 and it's effortless. Yes! It's an absolute breeze. Granted, I've not got my great big pack on the back, but I'm sat down, I'm still having to pedal it, it's not doing it itself, but how easy is that? So that's the features on the DYU FF500. I've used it for about a week and it is absolutely superb. I love it. It's dead comfy. It's all right, it's not the most expensive bike in the world. I think they retail about 1100 quid, all right. It has what's called a cadence sensor on it. So when you get an electric bike, you can either have a torque sensor or a cadence sensor. It's a little bit slow to react. If you're used to a very, very expensive electric mountain bike as such, they have a torque sensor on. So the actual motor senses how much power is being driven onto the actual drivetrain, if you will, and then it kicks in pretty quick. With a cadence sensor, it's about the revolution. So after a couple of turns, that's when it kicks in and that's when the bike takes off. And it really does pick its feet up. It doesn't half shift along. For around here, it's absolutely superb. I love it. It's great. I'm going to get a trailer for it. I'm looking at a little flatbed cargo trailer so I can whiz off to the post office and, you know, do deliveries, and I'll be using it mostly for my photography. So I've got all these rolling hills around here where I'm going to be taking all my gear when I've got my big pack on my back. It's hard work and I was struggling on the other bike, so DYU have kindly sent me this. They've answered the call and I'm suited to bits with it. It's absolutely superb. I love it. Right, I'm off down the hill now for a brew. Thanks very much for watching. If you haven't liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't done. We'll see you on the next one. See you later. Woohoo!